Throughout your whole business career, growing your business actually meant hiring more people. And I get that hiring is also a flex. Like if you have a team of 30, 40 people and you say that across other entrepreneurs, that could act as a signal of how big your business is. But right now, the actual truth is that this is no longer the case. And the faster you can realize what is the new way of actually building a business and understanding how you can use AI to leverage that, the faster you can actually grow and scale in this new area while also having the opportunity to increase your margins in the same time. Now, if you don't know who I am, I'm Ricardo Vandro. I'm the founder of Uplifted Consulting. We did over 40 plus AI implementation across small and medium businesses as well as enterprises in the past 2 years and a half. And I want to explain this concept for you because I had a conversation with a 20 plus year business owner fairly recently, and he actually said something like that to me. He said, I've been working in this same way for the past 20 years. Obviously, it's very difficult to change all of a sudden from one day to another. Because I was showing him the way we are working right now with AI workspaces and how we are implementing that across different companies. And so that came the idea from this specific video. Now, the concept for me is the following. Let me show you. So when we have any kind of business and also that worked in the past, we generally hit some kind of capacity wall, and that capacity wall actually meant I'm not able to go forward with my business anymore because of I don't have the time, or I cannot get enough. I cannot get more clients. Cannot get uh, more clients, and yeah, those are mostly the two things. So the easy solution is I want to increase the capacity for my business to do more and do more activities. Now I'm talking about generally over here. I'm not talking about one single area of the business. Keep in mind, obviously, you can delegate to different parts of the business, but let's let's take an example, an agency, for example, where you have a set amount of clients. So you are a marketing agency. You can only work with X amount of clients based on the team of 10 people that you have right now. So let's use that as an example. So the way we were thinking about how to do that previously is okay. I need to hire a person that would increase the capacity for our team to either have more clients or decrease the amount of time that it takes for our team to actually handle the amount of clients that we currently have. And this was the general thinking. So okay, with a capacity wall, we define what is the job role that's going to unlock that capacity wall, and then run through the hiring process, and then hire that person, and then continue until next capacity. Well, easy enough, right? Now, when we do this approach right now, the big problem that we have is that the more people we add to the team, the less margins we generally have within the business. Generally speaking, it's really, really difficult to keep the same margins while adding more and more people to the team. So your margin as a business owner gets diluted over time the more people you add within the team. So what is the alternative to this kind of approach here? The alternative essentially is instead of focusing on hiring first, focusing on system first through using AI. So I want to give you an example of that because before I show you a graph on that. This is a note that is coming from the CEO of Shopify. So in here, it talks about the fact that AI usage is a baseline expectation for the whole team right now. And the most important thing that they mention over here about like the tool, and they mention about AI, is that before starting to hire, they want to make sure that that capability cannot be actually done with AI first. So instead of having this, like this old way is we have a capacity first, and then we go into hiring immediately. In this new way of operating that a lot of big companies are operating. One example is Shopify, but we have another example which is Stripe, for example. Instead of going directly to the hiring part, they go first to the AI, and then after the AI they go to the hiring part. This doesn't actually mean removing hiring completely, because you still need people that help out with your team. But the first focus is, can we resolve this capacity problem with AI? Okay. So once you start to think through that, it's when you start to actually think, okay, how can AI replace different parts of the work, or how can AI become a employee in some specific part of the work? So in this sense, you can do two things. You can identify the job role, or you can do the same activities that you were doing before. So you define the job role, and then you define the responsibilities of that job role. And once you define the responsibilities of that job role, you create workflows. And workflows are essentially like a specific responsibility. So that could be, I'll make you a very simple example with a like executive assistance. We have like a inbox triage, which is a responsibility for a EA. So EA over here. And the workflows here are essentially how is this process executed. So in this specific case, the process is read emails, categorize emails, draft responses, and yeah. So this is an example of the workflows. Now, all these activities can be done by the AI if we really wanted to, because if the AI has context about how to read the emails, how to categorize the emails, how to draft the responses in the tone that we want to, then we have this workflow, and we have this responsibility automated by the person, by the AI. So this is the new way to start thinking about this process. Now, this is just an example. Obviously, we can take this a step forward with a role such as like let's say like a marketing analyst, for example. We can define the responsibilities of um, like producing reports, like producing weekly reports, something like that. And then the workflows here is gather data, uh, present data in graphs or tables, makes like create a narrative for the data. So in this case, this is the workflow. In this area, we have three different activities. Two of them could be done by the AI. The third one probably still requires some level of human expertise, because um, you need to make sure that the narrative is actually correct, and you want to verify that. But over time, this is something that with feedback and with iteration can also be done by the AI as well. So in this important concept, I want to say that before starting to think about the hiring, start to think about is there an actual way in which that process can be done by the AI? And obviously, it's difficult to it's difficult to start to think about that, because maybe you don't know that process well enough. And so that is when it's important to work together with other people in the team to figure out what are the actual processes that they are run and what is the actual decision making that they are using in order to run a specific process. So if, for example, I presented this thing as a marketing analyst and I'm a business owner, I don't know anything about like how to do a marketing analyst. I can hire a consultant that would help me identify what are the workflows over here, and then based on that I can start to think through, okay, how can this be translated into AI documents that an agentic tool such as Cloud Code can actually run for us. So this is just a very simple example and a very simple proxy that you can use. I think this is really important because the moment you start thinking like this is the moment you start to operate in the new way where AI is actually going right now and where every single company is actually focusing on. So um, having this AI first approach to every single task, every single capacity that you have is something that could help you. First off, in the short term, because you can increase the margins directly through this system that all of your competitors are not using, as well as in the long term, because this will become in a few years just the new way of working. You start with AI and then you focus on hiring so that people that you hire are actually focused on using the AI in the correct way. So yeah, that's what I got you for today. Really simple example. As I mentioned, this came from a real conversation with 20 plus 20 plus years business owners. If you are interested in understanding how you can operate in this new way of AI, how we can identify your capacity walls and what are the parts where AI can actually help out, you can find the first link in the description and we can talk about that.